Welcome to Karma Chronicles. Please like the video and subscribe. Let's begin.
I was dead on my feet when I heard the pounding. Not just a knock. This was fist slamming, urgent and wild. It was nearly 1 in the morning, and I'd just finished a 14-hour shift walking circles as dorm security at Ashgrove Academy. I hadn't even taken off my shoes. My keys were still in my hand when I heard the third bang. My first thought? Someone's drunk. My second? Someone's dead. I yanked open the door and froze. It was my mom. She nearly collapsed into me. Her face was streaked with blood, one eye already swelling shut, and her arms shook like she'd been electrocuted. She clung to me like she'd been drowning, and I was dry land. "Casey," she choked out. I didn't know where else to go." I pulled her inside, kicked the door shut, and locked it twice. What the hell happened? Mom, Jesus, who did this? She slid down onto the floor and covered her mouth, her whole body trembling. "It was Greg," she whispered. "He found out I told someone about Dana. He lost it." Quick note, before we go any further, tell us which city or country you're watching from. I dropped to my knees, trying to keep my voice from shaking. "Greg did this to you? Are you saying he hit you?" She nodded fast, like a kid caught cheating on a test. "It was just once. But he grabbed me first, and he screamed like I ruined his whole life. Greg, my stepfather. The same Greg who strutted around Ashgrove's campus with his stupid clipboard and polished shoes, acting like he was royalty. Vice principal of the most prestigious prep school in the South. But at home, he'd always been a different man. "How long has this been going on?" I asked, helping her onto the couch. Her lip trembled. "It's not like that. It was the stress. Dana's young. She's connected. If the school finds out, it'll blow everything up." My jaw tightened. "You mean he's worried about his job?" She grabbed my wrist. "Please, Casey. If you report this, it won't just hurt him. It'll hurt you. Your job's through his connections. Your tuition discount, everything." I looked at her, at the blood crusted under her nose, the finger-shaped bruises rising on her neck. Then I glanced across the room at my closet. Hanging from the door was my old Ashgrove student blazer, navy, still neat, like I'd pressed my past and hung it there to remind me how far I'd come. I stood up. "I'm not protecting him," I said. "Not anymore." She didn't fight me on it. Didn't say another word, just curled up on my couch like a kid hiding from a storm, and I sat there next to her, wide awake, staring at the bruises on her neck while my brain lit up with memories I didn't want anymore. Ashgrove Academy wasn't just my job. It was our whole damn life. It's this fake perfect K-12 school tucked away in an upscale suburb outside Atlanta, with white column buildings, fresh-cut grass, and banners everywhere that say stuff like tradition, honor, excellence. The kids wear uniforms. The teachers get invited to board members' lake houses. Every inch of it looks clean and polished, like some elite catalog ad for success. But if you hang around long enough, late shifts, empty hallways, drunk faculty parties, you see the cracks. They don't just hide scandals, they breed them. Greg knew how to blend into that place. He'd started as a PE teacher. By the time I graduated, he was vice principal. Smart mouth, polished manners, country club fake charm. People loved him. Parents, teachers, even the board. They had no idea who he really was. I was 10 when he married my mom. She'd met him at a fundraiser for the school. She was working registration, and he showed up with a fresh haircut and a wallet full of compliments. I remember her lighting up when she told me about him. "He respects teachers," she said. "He wants a family." For the first year, he played the part. Helped with my homework, took us to Sunday brunch, said things like, "Anything my girls need." Then he started showing teeth. It was little things at first. Telling my mom how to dress, joking about how much sugar she put in her coffee, talking over her in front of guests, laughing when she'd get flustered. I'd hear the front door slam so hard it rattled my bedroom. Then silence. Or worse, those muffled fights that came with sharp words like knives under a blanket. I started recognizing patterns. The way her smile would vanish when the garage door opened. The way she stopped wearing anything he didn't buy her. Nights when she stayed locked in the bathroom for hours, water running, even though we both knew she wasn't crying anymore, just hiding. Once, when I was 16, I asked her if he ever hit her. She looked straight at me and said, "Greg's not that kind of man." But I knew what she really meant. I didn't fight back then. I just got out. After I graduated, I took a full-time job at Ashgrove as a dorm security officer. It wasn't glamorous, but it came with tuition benefits, housing help, and enough hours to keep the lights on. I could stay close, keep an eye on her, and pay down some bills. Greg hated that. Said I was hovering, told my mom I was clinging to the past, told me to grow up and let him take care of her. But I never trusted him, not fully. He'd flash that charming grin in public, but I saw the way his jaw twitched when she interrupted him. I saw the bruises she blamed on running into the cabinet. I heard her defend him while her eyes begged me not to ask again. Every time I started to say something, she shut it down. He's under pressure. You don't understand the politics. You'll ruin your own future. So I stayed quiet, worked overtime, watched from the sidelines like a damn coward. But tonight, I didn't have to guess anymore. There was no metaphor in a split lip, no misreading a handprint on her throat. He put his hands on her. The man who gave me detention for wearing nail polish in middle school had the nerve to beat the woman who gave up everything for him. And now she was sitting on my couch trying to protect his job. I stood up, grabbed my phone, and took a photo of the bruises before they faded. This wasn't going away. I snapped the photo and checked the time, 1:14 a.m. My mom flinched like she'd been caught doing something wrong. "Why are you taking pictures?" "To protect you," I said. "And to make sure he doesn't spin some bull story about how you tripped or got emotional. We need a record." She turned her face away. "Casey, if this gets out, if people at Ash Grove find out." I sat back down and looked her dead in the eye. "They'll find out either way. You think the board will cover it up? Maybe, but not if we show them what he's been doing behind the scenes." Her hands gripped the blanket tighter. "It's not that simple. These people, parents, staff, they gossip like it's their full-time job. They won't just talk about Greg. They'll talk about me, about you." She wasn't wrong. Ash Grove wasn't just a school. It was a bubble. The kind where everyone knew your last name, your car, your ex-husband's DUI from 10 years ago. There were no secrets. Just rumors waiting for fuel. I didn't push more that night, but after she fell asleep, curled up in a hoodie I'd thrown her, I got to work. First, I pulled the security logs. My access didn't cover everything, but I could see timestamps, parking entries, guest pass scans. I flagged the nights Greg claimed to be working late and cross-checked them with dorm check-in footage. Most nights, no one came in. A few nights, someone did. Dana Pierce, young, blonde, just out of grad school, and already promoted to academic programs director. I checked our internal directory. She barely had 3 months of experience. Somehow she'd leapfrogged people who'd been at Ash Grove a decade. I dug deeper. Greg's name popped up on the expense reports I had access to. Lunches, dinners, a hotel down in Buckhead billed to a community outreach line item. Idiot. I checked his school card history. More hotel charges, spa services, wine bars. Everything coded staff development or admin travel. Then I opened my mom's old phone backups. She used to sync everything to our shared cloud, and I never shut off the admin access. That's when I found the texts. "You need to shut up before you lose everything. You want to destroy your daughter's life? Keep talking. This is bigger than you, Judy. Stay in your lane." I read them out loud in a whisper, like hearing them would somehow make them less disgusting. This wasn't just about a cheating scandal or a temper problem. This was leverage. He'd been threatening her to stay quiet, dangling my job, our reputation, her sanity like he owned it all. I gathered everything, screenshots, PDFs, camera photos, timestamps, and dumped them into a folder titled Ashgrove_evidence. Then I sent it all to one person I trusted with this kind of fire, Mr. Warren. He used to be Ash Grove's legal counsel, smart, quiet, sharp as hell. Left last year without any announcement. I always suspected he saw something he didn't want to be part of. I drafted the email and attached everything. Subject line, urgent, legal review request. Greg B., Ash Grove. Message, "Hi, Mr. Warren. Sorry to drop this out of the blue, but I need your help. I believe there's serious misconduct going on inside Ash Grove, financial and personal. I've attached documents and screenshots. Please tell me if we have a case. Casey H." I hovered over the send button. Then I clicked. Whatever happened next, I wasn't turning back. I didn't sleep. By the time the sun came up, I was sitting in my car, engine running, waiting outside Greg and Judy's house like I was the one with something to prove. He came out around 7:10 a.m., dressed like always. Pressed shirt, smug face, Bluetooth in his ear like he was on a damn earnings call. He got into his SUV and I followed. Didn't even try to be subtle. If he noticed me tailing him through the suburbs and onto I-75 toward Midtown, he didn't care. Maybe he thought he was untouchable. He pulled into the valet lane of some overpriced rooftop restaurant downtown. I parked 2 blocks away and walked the rest, just in time to see her. Dana Pierce, tight dress, designer bag, heels too high for a weekday, hair curled like she spent the morning in a salon instead of answering emails. She climbed into his passenger seat like she'd done it 100 times. She smiled at him. He leaned over and kissed her. I snapped a picture, time-stamped, clear shot, no denying it. She looked young enough to be his intern, barely 25 maybe, but she carried herself like she owned the place, like being someone's dirty secret didn't bother her at all. Next day, I waited in the school lot near the staff entrance. I knew her car, little white Lexus, of course. She pulled in late, sunglasses on even though it was cloudy. I stepped in front of her before she could reach the door. "Got a minute?" I asked. Dana didn't even flinch, just pushed her shades up and smiled. "Casey, aren't you on night patrol? I've got eyes on every part of this school. That includes you." She laughed. "Is this supposed to scare me?" "No, but you should think real hard about what you're doing. Because right now, you're standing on a cliff." She tilted her head. "You mean Greg?" He finally got what he deserves. A woman who isn't scared of her own shadow. I stepped closer. My mother isn't a shadow. She gave that man everything. He repaid her with a bloody mouth. Dana crossed her arms. "Oh, come on." "Judy's been a mess since I got here. Everyone knows it. Maybe you're just mad Greg moved on." I clenched my jaw so hard I thought my teeth would crack. "You're not just screwing a married man," I said. "You're using him to climb." "Your promotion didn't come from talent, Dana. It came from backseats and cover-ups. And I've got proof." Her smirk dipped for half a second. Just a flicker. But it was there. I leaned in. "This isn't just gossip anymore. There's a paper trail, emails, receipts. You should have kept this behind closed doors." Dana uncrossed her arms and straightened her jacket. "I'm not afraid of you, or your mother. You should be afraid of the truth. Because it's not just going to cost you a job, it's going to bury your name in every hiring file from here to Florida." She didn't respond, just turned, walked toward the admin wing, and pushed the door open without looking back. But that smirk? It didn't come back. By the time Dana disappeared into the admin wing, I already had a meeting set up. Mr. Warren told me to meet him at a law office in Decatur. Nothing fancy, just a firm that handled estate stuff and real estate. He'd been consulting there part-time since leaving Ashgrove. Said it paid the bills without the toxic politics. I walked in with a folder in my bag and fire in my chest. He was sitting at a corner table, gray jacket, sleeves rolled up, like he was already halfway through the case before I even said hello. "You've been busy," he said, nodding toward the folder. "Did you look at what I sent?" He gave me a look. "Twice. You're sitting on a bomb, and you're not wrong. Ashgrove's been covering for people like Greg for years." I sat down. "What do you mean, people like Greg?" He opened a manila file of his own and slid a sheet across the table. "That's a redacted harassment report from 2 years ago. Female faculty member claimed Dana Pierce made inappropriate comments, touched her during a work trip. It made it to my desk back when I was still in house. I scanned it. The name was blacked out, but the date and details lined up with Dana's time as a temp in the advancement office. What happened? Greg shut it down, said it was misinterpreted and handled internally. The complaint vanished, and the staffer left 6 months later. My stomach flipped. So he's been cleaning up her messes for years. Warren nodded, and getting rewarded for it. Dana's promotions, the fake invoices, the travel budgets, Greg signed off on every dollar. We spent the next 2 hours building the framework. My photos of Judy's injuries, the timestamps, the spending records, Greg's threatening texts, Dana's involvement in misappropriated funds, and, finally, Judy's written statement, typed out with trembling hands but signed clear as day. Warren laid everything out in a draft report: abuse, harassment cover-ups, financial fraud, professional misconduct, enough to force an internal investigation, maybe even spark a criminal one. Then came the hard part. "Restraining order," I said. He raised an eyebrow. "Are you ready for that?" "Yeah, I want it served on school grounds. In front of everyone. That'll make it public fast." Good. We filed the paperwork that same day. By the time I left the law office, word was already swirling. Teachers stopped talking when I walked past the staff lounge. I caught a couple glancing at their phones and whispering. Parents looked at me different at pickup, like they couldn't decide if I was a hero or a threat. But the worst was what it did to my mom. We were at the grocery store when someone from the board walked past us. Didn't even say hi. Just looked Judy up and down like she was something rotten under the produce. Back in the car, she gripped the steering wheel with white knuckles. "They're going to destroy us," she whispered. "You don't understand how these people work. They protect their own. We're not their kind." I reached over and grabbed her hand. "You think staying quiet saved you?" It didn't. Her eyes filled with tears. "They're going to make me out to be crazy. Or bitter. Or vindictive." I squeezed tighter. "You survived years in silence. Now you survive in truth." She didn't say anything, but she didn't let go of my hand, either. That night, I sat on my apartment floor, laptop open, watching emails roll in from Warren, each one tightening the noose. All these years, Ash Grove pretended to be a temple of values, but behind the ivy walls and honor codes, it was just a well-dressed mess like everything else. And we were finally about to tear the curtain down. The restraining order was served at 9:41 a.m., right in the middle of Ash Grove's monthly staff meeting. Greg was standing near the projector, mid-sentence about upcoming exam protocols, when two uniformed deputies walked into the conference room with a thick envelope and a clipboard. They didn't say a word, just handed it over. You could have heard a pen drop. Greg froze, read the first few lines. His face twitched, then flushed deep red. He didn't blow up, not in front of everyone. That wasn't his style. He just folded the papers, looked around the room, and muttered, "Excuse me," like he was heading to lunch and not having his entire world cracked open. By the time lunch period hit, it was everywhere. Someone posted on the faculty Slack that a top administrator just got served at the meeting. Parents were texting teachers. Teachers were whispering in hallways. I even heard two middle schoolers joke about a principal getting divorced and sued for cheating on TikTok. That night, I caught him sitting in his car outside my building. Same SUV, lights off, engine running, just watching. He didn't get out, didn't honk, didn't roll down the window. Just sat there for a good 20 minutes, arms crossed, eyes locked on my front door like he could burn a hole through it. I stood in the window the whole time. I wanted him to see me see him. He finally pulled away, tires squealing at the end of the block. The next day, Dana didn't show up. Word was she'd taken emergency leave to deal with a family situation. Yeah, sure. Then Greg fired back. He filed a counterclaim with the school board and sent a formal letter through his lawyer, accusing my mom of emotional instability and claiming I was abusing internal access to school records for personal retaliation. He really thought he could spin it like we were the problem. Like I was some bitter daughter using her campus login to fake a scandal. The board responded fast. They scheduled a closed hearing to evaluate the claims of misconduct from all parties. All parties. Like we were all equal players in this mess. I wasn't about to let him win round two. I pulled every file I had access to, dug through reimbursement forms, scanned vendor payouts, mapped every dollar Greg moved over the past 18 months. That's when I found the real dirt. A property purchase, half-acre of land in Smyrna, bought in the name of a nonprofit called Future Scholars Foundation. Looked clean at first, but when I traced the LLC registration, Dana Pierce, listed as executive director. That fund was meant for need-based scholarships. He'd rerouted tens of thousands into a shell organization tied directly to the woman he was sleeping with. It wasn't just sketchy, it was fraud. I dumped it all into a drive and met with Mr. Warren again. We sat side by side at his desk while he built the final packet: restraining order, abuse documentation, text threats, expense fraud, fake foundation, school funds rerouted into personal pockets. "This isn't just a messy family scandal," Warren said, tapping the last page. "This is criminal." I nodded. Then let's treat it like one." They held the hearing in Ash Grove's Alumni Hall, the fancy part of campus with gold-plated donor plaques and over-polished floors that smelled like old money and lemon wax. The board called it private, but by the time we walked in, the room was damn near full. Teachers, staff, even some parents in the back. Folding chairs lined up in tight rows. Everyone trying to look casual, like they weren't here to watch a full-blown collapse. Greg sat front and center, next to his high-priced attorney, Same smug look on his face, legs crossed, not a single wrinkle in his shirt, like this was just a minor inconvenience on his calendar. Then Dana walked in, wearing a cream-colored pantsuit and pearls, hair done up like she was running for office, not a trace of nerves. She scanned the room like she was still in control, like the people whispering weren't whispering about her. I didn't look away, neither did my mom. Mr. Warren stood next to me, calm as ever. He handed the board chair a thick binder, labeled, indexed, and bulletproof. "Let's begin," the chair said. We didn't waste time. Warren walked them through everything. Photos of the bruises, time-stamped logs, financial records showing gift charges, hotel bills, conference expenses that lined up with Dana's schedule, the emails, the threats. I watched Greg's face twitch when they projected one of his text messages on the screen. "You need to shut up before you lose everything." A few people in the room actually gasped. Then it was Judy's turn. She walked slowly to the podium, hands shaking, voice small at first. But then she reached into her purse, unfolded a crumpled piece of paper, and started reading. The texts, the dates, his words, line after line of emotional blackmail and manipulation, read out loud in front of everyone who used to smile at him in the staff lounge. When she finished, she looked straight at the board. I stayed quiet for a long time. I didn't want to cause problems. I thought silence would protect us, but all it did was protect him. The room was dead silent. Someone sniffled in the back. Chairs creaked. They called Dana next. She stood up, smoothed her jacket, walked to the mic in 5-inch heels. "Miss Pierce," the chair said, "do you deny knowledge of the Future Scholars Foundation account?" "I plead the fifth," she said, clear and flat. "Do you deny receiving funds through that organization?" "I plead the fifth." "Do you deny an intimate relationship with Vice Principal Becker during the period in question?" Her eyes didn't flinch. "I plead the fifth." She walked back to her seat like she'd just answered the damn weather report. But her silence said more than anything else could have. The board huddled for 20 minutes behind closed doors. When they came back, the chair didn't sugarcoat it. Effective immediately, Gregory Becker is suspended without pay, pending further investigation. Miss Pierce is also under review, and all financial accounts related to her position are frozen until this board completes a full audit. No one clapped, no one cheered. But the silence felt louder than any celebration. It was done, or so I thought. I walked out into the parking lot alone while Judy and Warren wrapped up loose ends. I needed air, space, something that wasn't fluorescent lights and folding chairs. Greg was waiting. He stepped out from behind a minivan near the back row. No jacket this time. Tie loosened, face hard. "You think this is over?" he said, voice low. I didn't flinch. "It is for you." He stepped closer. "You have no idea what you've done. That school is going to bury this. You'll be out of a job before the semester ends." I stared him down. "This isn't the end. You're not just losing your job, you're losing your cover." He didn't respond, didn't blink, just clenched his jaw and turned away, disappearing between 2 rows of cars. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. He'd come at us with fear, lies, threats. Now all he had left was silence. And it wasn't going to save him. 2 weeks later, they arrested Greg in his driveway. No sirens, no crowd. Just a black and white car pulling up slow, while he tried to pretend he didn't see it coming. Cuffed him in khakis and a golf polo. Took him in for financial misconduct, fraud tied directly to the Future Scholars money trail, and a few other shady reimbursements that came to light once the audit started rolling. Dana vanished the day after. Rumor was she tried to sue the school for wrongful exposure, but her claim got tossed before it hit the floor. Whatever lawyer she hired must have seen the mountain coming and decided not to die on that hill. The weirdest part? Life kept moving. I still showed up for my overnight shift like clockwork, even though I knew it was a countdown. I figured HR would call me in, fire me quietly, tell me I violated internal ethics, or some other school-scripted excuse. Instead, they asked me to step into a meeting room and close the door. No badge check, no security. Just a tight-lipped HR rep and a senior board member I'd only seen once before at Founders Day. He cleared his throat. "Casey, this is off the record. What you did was risky, but necessary." I stared at him. "So, I'm not getting fired." "Not only that," he said, sliding a file across the table. "We'd like to move you to the Student Safety and Welfare Office. New position. better hours, benefits. You'll report to a different division. I opened the folder. It was real. The HR rep nodded. Think of it as protecting the school's future. You've already started doing that. I didn't thank them. I just nodded once, stood up, and walked out. Back home, my mom had started coming back to life. She signed up for a beginner's cooking class at the rec center, bought a bunch of mismatched pots from a garage sale, started leaving the house in jeans and sandals instead of those tight dresses Greg used to pick out for her. And she smiled, like real smiles, the kind that stayed on her face after the moment passed. Then, one afternoon, I saw the envelope sitting on the kitchen table. She'd filed for divorce. No ceremony, no tears. Just done. Around town, the whispers changed. People who used to look away started nodding when they saw me. One of the 10th grade English teachers handed me a sticky note in the parking lot that just said, "Thank you for not letting him bury this." A parent I didn't even know stopped me outside the post office and said, "You did what nobody else had the guts to do." Mr. Warren called one evening just to check in. "You've got a mind for this work," he said. "Ever think about law school?" I laughed. "I barely made it through college algebra." "You're better than half the lawyers I've worked with." You've got instinct. Don't waste it. I didn't know if he was serious, but it stuck with me. That night, I'd sat on the front porch of my apartment, legs kicked up on the railing, hoodie wrapped tight, just listening to the wind move through the trees. It was quiet. No engines idling outside, no footsteps pacing upstairs, no gut-punch text messages blinking on my phone, just the kind of stillness you don't notice until the chaos finally dies down. Somewhere on the other side of Ashgrove's iron gate, there were women sleeping easier, and I didn't fix everything, but I made sure they weren't doing it alone. The folding chairs were already filling up by the time we got to the field. Ashgrove's spring graduation. Blue gowns, gold cords, the same brass band they hired every year playing some barely in tune march. Nothing looked different on the surface. But it was. Greg wasn't on stage. No forced smile, no speech about excellence and accountability. Just a blank chair where he used to sit and a new dean with clear eyes and zero tolerance for bullshit. My mom sat next to me in a soft green dress, hands folded in her lap. Not stiff, not anxious, just present. And people noticed her, not the way they used to. No pity stares, no fake sympathy. This time, they nodded. Quiet little acknowledgments. Like they finally saw her for what she was, someone who survived it all and still showed up. She straightened her shoulders just a little. I scanned the staff row. A few new faces I recognized. Hires I'd quietly flagged to the board through Warren. Sharp people. No connections to the old boys club. They stood tall, smiling at students like they actually gave a damn. Then, near the back, a girl, barely 19, hair pulled into a tight bun, slipped out of the crowd and walked up to me. "I just wanted to say," she said, voice low, "I heard what you did." For all of us, I nodded once. "Thanks." She didn't need to say more. She just smiled and ducked back into the line of grads. The principal gave his speech. The students turned their tassels. The bell tower started to chime. As the crowd stood to clap, my mom reached over and hooked her arm through mine. "You didn't just protect me," she said. "You protected that place too." I watched the graduates toss their caps into the sky like they believed something better was finally coming. "They needed to see that the truth matters," I said, "even when it hurts." The last chime echoed through the quad, and for once, it didn't sound like ceremony. It sounded like a warning and a promise.